Thanks so much for joining us on our off-grid journey. Be sure to like, subscribe, and set up those notifications. And for more tutorials, podcasts, and updates, head over to offgridbnb.com. Okay, here we are on day 3 of the platform / stairs build for the flushing toilets. I have concreted the 2 front pilings in. I've had to actually go out and get some more lumber. I got some 2x6 beams for the joists on the support for the platform. I have cut but not finalized all the cuts for the sawtooth. I'm gonna call them joists. I don't know actually the term for the sawtooth planks that go up that actually hold the steps up to the platform, but maybe I'll just look that up. I've got those cut. And yesterday, the pausing point was when we actually sealed everything and assumed it would be done and ready, but it is still wet. It's still got a bit of a liquid sheen on it. So we're not gonna be able to do as much as I wanted to, not because I'm worried about getting it on me so much as I am about getting it, if I go to cut some of this sealed stuff with my circular saw, I don't want any of that material, that substance getting into the motor of the circular saw, or any other tool for that matter. Probably be using a jigsaw. If I use the nail gun, there would be some splatter. I don't know if that would get in there and gum it up, so I have to wait a little bit. But we have a strategy. We're going to set the sawtooth joists along the side of the steps. I'm going to draw lines to cut later, and we're going to pre-drill holes to mount the steps, do it all together, see how it fits, and then cut as necessary, because there's a slight grade from behind the flushing box, the unit, to the front where the handrail starter is going to be going into the ground. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. Hopefully we'll get as much of it done as possible. We've got to do some water runs and a couple of other things that were neglected when I was out working at the Crow's Foot. So we'll get to it. All right, so I have gotten to the point where I've constructed the platform. I've prepped the sawtooth joists for the stairs to match with a couple of different points of contact. One is my main joist for the platform, and for the sides, I'm going to nail sideways inside the sawtooth joists into the pilings on the front and back, and then my center sawtooth support is going to be nailed in from the back, and then also obviously all of the steps themselves are going to be nailed in. These are not nailed in right now, I just have them sitting here for visual representation. So that center sawtooth joist is going to be screwed down, nailed or screwed down center inside the steps. It's going to have nails or screws coming in from behind next to the joist. And I also have a center beam being nailed or screwed into the back of the sawtooth joists in the rear that holds them together, which comes 1/4 inch shy of flush to the outside of the pilings from where I'm standing. And I'm going to put a 2x4 across that to bolt into, nail or screw into that 2x4 that holds them all together. So that's the top of the step structure. The bottom of the step structure is going to be a little bit different. I'm finding now that I have the thing constructed and I'm actually standing in front of it and looking at it, what I'm seeing is that this step is pretty high. We get a lot of guests that are, everybody from toddlers to pygmies. I don't think we've had a pygmy yet, but you know what I mean. And but we'll need a bottom step. So to explain what I'm going to do there, I'm going to have a pressure treated 2x4 connect all 3 steps from the underside, and then that 2x4 will also work as a bit of a platform guide, where I'm going to put my final 2x8 coming out from there. I'm going to take 2x4s and bolt them into the sides of each of the steps, and that's going to come out another 7 inches. These planks are 2x8, so it's about actually 7 1/4 inches wide. So I'm going to start that final step right here, and the height of it is going to be maybe 5 4 to 5 inches off the ground, and then another 6 inches under this. So it'll effectively add a first step. It'll add structural integrity to the base, and then because we have that pressure treated 2x4 going all the way across, I'm going to have a two-fold double attack at adding structure to the base. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dig a small channel for that 2x4 to sit in, and then I'm going to form concrete around it and kind of push it down toward the outside so rain will sheet off of it. I'm also going to try and seal that at some point once everything dries. And that's the first. The second is that I'm also going to take a pressure treated piling and come up from a hole that I'm going to dig here, and that's going to go up to the handrail. It's going to mount to the handrail, which then goes up to the platform, the deck. And then I'm going to have another one that's not quite as tall, probably only come up to the bottom of the step here and go into the ground another probably 6 inches. I don't need super deep holes for these, because what I'm going to end up with is enough structure from the entire kind of like the collective strength of all the pilings and steps and joists and all that other stuff that I really shouldn't have to worry too much about having any more than 6 inches or so into the ground to concrete in for that. I mean, it's really just going to add some like shimmy strength to the base of the steps. So once that's all, we're going to use screws to start it off. And once I'm positive that I've got everything where it needs to be, I'm going to let the concrete set, unscrew everything, seal it all up, slap it all back together, and then we'll be done with the steps. So for this one, I'm going to come over from the inside of this one. I want to say it was 23 inches. So I'll put my T-square right at the 23-inch mark. And that is where I will draw my line. And then in addition to that line, I'm also going to put an arrow just to make sure. I mean, I'm about to pick up this sawtooth joist right now and nail it in, but let's say I got a phone call, put it down, went away and forgot. If I nailed it or screwed it into the side I didn't want, just accidentally, when I show up here I'm like, oh look, I've still got my measurement, I'll just throw it together. If I did it that way, I wouldn't have room to nail it in on the back. So I just remind myself of where to do stuff by putting an arrow on it, or if I mean to cut it here, but the measurement has less of a margin of error on the right side, I'll just draw a little circle or something on that side so I can self-correct when I'm cutting. So I'm only putting one screw in these for a couple of reasons. Number one, I want to be able to back the screw out. If I nail it in there, it's going to be a lot harder to undo a mistake that I didn't foresee while I'm building it over here and then moving it over there. And the second reason is I can kind of guess that they're straight this way, but I can't necessarily guess that they're straight this way. So a screw will allow me to still pivot it a little bit while it's in place. Then I get the stairs on there, then I nail it all together, and we're good to go. All right, so I have clamped the shit out of it. I have dug my channel out. I've dug the hole for the right post where the handrail is going to be mounted. I've dug a small area where I originally thought I was going to put a post, but things have changed. It doesn't look like I'll actually need one because where I'll be at, it'll kind of, the concrete will come around and grab that lower pressure treated base on the stairs anyway and keep it up out of the water, so it's a win-win. Don't have to worry about raising it up off the ground or digging a channel that's a little bit too low. I've also made sure that I'm not only level across the steps left to right on each one of them, and it turns out really well. I've also made sure that the steps themselves, the platform upon which the steps will be mounted, is also level. So I'm level on my X and I'm level on my Y axes. The post I just leveled and clamped twice, because what we're going to do now is we're going to lift it up. I'm going to pour that concrete underneath, dry pour it. I'm going to hit it with an initial soak, a spray of water, which will harden the top. We're not going to put any weight on this for a day, and so as the water penetrates down on that initial soak, it should harden enough with the constant pressure of the steps that by tomorrow we nail our steps in and we're good to go. Okay, so to get a uniform spread of distance between the planks on the platform, I guess I'm calling it a deck, platform, whatever. What I did is I have a little scrap piece of wood here, and one's about 5/8 inch and the other side is about 1/2 inch. And I just shaved that down as closely as I could to spread about 1/8 difference. And you wouldn't think 1/8 of a difference really matters much, but over the course of 10 different planks, obviously little after little they add up. And 10/8 is obviously, it's 1 inch and 1/8. Kind of weird to say it like that, but anyway, 10/8 is over 1 inch. So anyway, so at first I started out and I had the wide end go in and try to distance them out, and as you can see, they fit uniformly between all of the planks. So what that did was that'll be a good measure to spread out your decks. I wanted these a little bit wider to make sure I had snow melt going through those for the end of the year. All right, here I am reporting to you live from the top of the stairs. Don't know why I needed to say that, but it's a hell of an accomplishment. This set of, the stairs, the platform, the pilings, everything is strong as hell. It's really pretty. It doesn't wobble, it doesn't shake. None of the beams are wiggly. For my first time ever doing stairs, a deck type thing and a hand railing and stuff, I think I did a pretty good job. It's really just a matter of looking at it and seeing what needs to fit and work and all that. It took a lot of time thinking about the height of the stairs, and we have short people, tall people, heavy people, tiny people that come through the B&B, and so I had to accommodate for the heaviest, tallest, whatever of our guests, right? Everything else kind of goes to the wayside, but all that planning went into it. It's nice and solid. It's a very cool setup, and I'm super proud of it. And so we're all done. We got done, I think, probably within just about 4 hours of work today. And next comes the inside. I'm gonna put the door right here, obviously at the top of the platform, top of the stairs. I think you're gonna have a door that opens kind of opens out this way, so you don't have to walk in and kind of be cramped by the door. The door itself, when it opens, is gonna hit this rail here for safety. It's not gonna like flap open in the wind or whatever. You're gonna walk into the bathroom that way, and you'll see the flusher toilet, the pump style flusher toilet. We'll put a video together for the Home Biogas bio toilet digester bag and flusher. All the lining, we'll do a full unboxing and detailing of that in the tutorial. Probably gonna have a mirror, but what I'm also considering is putting a big dome window in the back. I think I talked about that a little bit before, but for right now, I'm just super stoked about getting this done. And yeah, so tomorrow we'll move on to the next thing. If you enjoyed this video, why not reach out? You could be a podcast guest, get discounts on rentals, or even collaborate on a project. Send inquiries to offgridbnb@gmail.com.